Hey y'all, so today we are gonna just cook, chill, eat, talk. Figured it would be a good time for a Q&A. So I'm gonna chat with y'all while I make my lunch. I'm about to make something. This is one of my go-to meals, and it's something that I make whenever I don't feel like thinking too much, but I know I want something good and delicious. This is like a popsicle on the 4th of July. Like, it's always satisfying, it always hits, and that is my spicy crispy tofu and roasted broccoli over basmati rice. When I tell y'all, I never get sick of it. It is just so good. I've been eating it for years. And then I'm also gonna be making some blueberry muffins because I made them last week and they were such a hit. Like, they literally went by so fast in here. I made a batch of 10 muffins and by day 2, they were completely gone. So we're like, run it back. So I'm gonna make some blueberry muffins as well. So yeah, while I do that, I'm gonna be answering some frequently asked questions that I have gotten quite a lot, especially over the years. Now that I have been plant-based for, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, I decided to go plant-based in the beginning of 2014, something like that. So it's at least 11 years, maybe around 12. So as someone who has eaten a plant-based diet for over a decade, I just want to talk about some things that I have learned along the way and also touch on some questions that I still get to this day. Things that I've learned, things that I wish I knew before. I get questions even now like, do you ever secretly crave non-vegan foods? And we're gonna get into that too. I'm gonna go ahead and preheat my oven, 400. Okay, I think I'm gonna prep the muffins first because those take the longest. They take about 25 minutes in the oven. While I make these muffins, let's go ahead and get into the questions. So first one is one I get a lot, and it is, what made you go vegan all those years ago? And I touched on this before. I did a video, I want to say it was like 8 years ago, 7, something like that. And I talked all about it. I'll link it below if you guys haven't seen it. It's really old, but just to recap, I went vegan because I was eating like this microwave meal. It was lasagna with meat sauce. And when I took it out of the microwave, I basically was like kind of repulsed by it. It was something in me that just said, don't eat it. And ever since then, I started slowly cutting out meat. I started with pork, then it went to beef, then it went to cutting out chicken and turkey and stuff like that. And then the final thing was seafood. That was what I was hanging on to. Finally, in around, like I said, 2014, 2013, I cut out the seafood as well. And I was like, I might as well just go completely vegan because I don't eat any animals. I might as well just stop drinking, regular milk, just switch to vegan options. I didn't want to eat animal parts anymore. It was grossing me out. But what's kept me going with this is basically how I feel. I noticed such a difference when I changed my diet. Like, literally, and I talked about this in my video years ago, I used to have really severe insomnia. And ever since I changed my diet, shortly after, I stopped having insomnia. Like, I sleep like a baby these days. I don't have any sleep issues whatsoever, and I struggled with insomnia for as long as I could remember, but it seemed like ever since I went vegan, it just vanished. What else? I feel like I have more energy. My skin has been better because I used to get breakouts here and there. I never had super bad skin, like acne prone or anything, but I would get occasional breakouts. Now it's way more of a rarity for me to get a breakout. And overall, I just feel a lot more clear-headed, a lot more focused because of the things that I am eating. So yeah, that's what's kept me on this path. And also, of course, I still have that aversion to animal parts. Like, I think too far into it and I'm like, this is really a cow's stomach sitting on my plate, and I just I don't wanna ingest that. Whoa. So that's what keeps me on the vegan path. Another thing I'm asked a lot is, do I think I will be vegan forever? To be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not sure. But do I think I will eat meat again? Most likely not. I'm 99% sure I will not eat meat again. Yeah, I just don't foresee myself eating actual meat, like a steak or a burger or like a chicken sandwich or something. I don't see me eating that, but to hold myself to a completely plant-based standard, no. And actually I did backslide. Another question that I get is, are there any non-vegan foods that you still crave? And I don't have too much, by the way. I am folding in, I'm folding in the blueberries in this mixture, y'all. When I tell you these muffins are divine, I'm not even joking. And I have the recipe. I have my little book stand right here. I have the recipe for these in my cookbook, Deliciously Vegan, shameless plug. It's right here. These are the muffins I'm making. And as some of you know, I am working on cookbook number 2. It is coming along and I'm really excited about it. So this cookbook, I only have it available in the digital version, but it is on sale right now for the next 3 days. So if you wanna grab a copy, you can go ahead and get it. I'm telling you, these muffins, like the muffins alone, you should get it for that. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I have backslid a little bit. So what I have craved non-vegan mostly is just cheese, because the vegan cheeses are not the greatest. Like I have tried a few vegan cheeses that are pretty okay, but most of them have a really weird aftertaste. So sometimes I do crave authentic, real cheese flavor. And while I was pregnant with my twins 2 years ago, I did have cheese items. So I think it was maybe like 5 times-ish. I had some mac and cheese, I had cheese pizza like twice, I had some cheese curls. I was really craving cheese during my twin pregnancy, but it was only for like a short span of time. After I ate those cheese things a couple times, I was like, okay, I'm good. I don't want to continue this. So I haven't eaten cheese since then, but every once in a while I do get that cheese craving, but it was just during my pregnancy. I could not resist it. So that's what I mean by like, I don't want to hold myself to the vegan standard for the rest of my life. If for some reason one day I'm like, okay, I want this, I'm not gonna deprive myself or feel bad about it. I'm just gonna eat it. So that's how it is. But besides that, during this entire period, I have never eaten any meat whatsoever, including seafood. The only non-vegan things that I've eaten over the past decade is, like I said, during my twin pregnancy, some cheese items, and then I might have mistakenly eaten some things that contained milk. But other than that, I have stuck to it, and yeah. The next question is, what's the one ingredient you always have in your kitchen? And before I put those in the tin, let me show y'all. I always have white vinegar. It's a boring ingredient, but I obviously eat a lot of produce, a lot of fruits and vegetables, and I'm very anal about cleaning my fruits and vegetables before I eat them. So I use vinegar and salt to clean them. So I always have big jugs of vinegar around, but other than that, I always have almond milk. I always have like nuts, cashews, walnuts, cashews. I like to make a cheesy sauce. I feel like my cheesy sauce that I make is way better than anything I can buy in the store. I use the walnuts to make a vegan version of ground meat. So I'll use that for tacos or spaghetti or lasagna. What else do I always have? I actually made a video on the 5 foods that I eat almost every day, so I'll link that video below as well. Next question, what do you say to people who think vegan food is boring? What I have to say about that is I eat such a varied assortment of foods now. I feel like my palate has expanded so much more being plant-based. Vegan food is very creative. I experiment so much more. I feel like my creativity comes out. Now, this is not to say that you can't be creative with, you know, non-vegan food, but in order to not eat the same thing every single day, you're gonna have to use some brain power, and sometimes you're gonna have to think outside of the box to be able to put together meals and this is really what sparked my love of cooking. And some of y'all know I actually don't eat a lot of faux meat products. So a lot of the foods in the stores that are processed and prepared already, they weren't really speaking to me. So I had to come up with my own recipes and things, which put me on this path of making a cookbook and doing cooking videos and just really getting into cooking. Because at first I was a terrible cook. Like, I did not know my way around the kitchen at all. And now I feel like I'm a really good cook, if I do say so myself. So yeah, vegan food to me is not boring. It is very, very colorful, exciting. So many tasty things can be made vegan. And also, going back to the question of, are there any non-vegan foods that you still miss? With vegan cooking, a lot of the foods that I used to eat, I can still make them just vegan fried? Vegan versions of the foods that I used to eat. So I used to like fried chicken, but I was so picky about eating a chicken wing. I only like the flats, by the way. And then that rubbery part, the gristle, I didn't like that. So I would eat like half of a wing and leave the other half there because I didn't like certain parts of it. So I would waste so much of it. But now I can make like my fried portobello mushrooms. I feel like they taste even better than fried chicken. I might be biased, I don't know. But like I said, there's so many options out there and things that I can make just meat free. The one thing that I was holding on to before I went completely plant-based is seafood, because I loved crabs. I'm from Baltimore. Y'all know we are crabs through and through. Like, if you don't eat crabs, like who even are you? So crabs, going to a cookout, going to a crab feast, that Old Bay smell, and just, oh my God, oh, it's taking me back. Y'all, I was like, I don't know if I can give up the crabs, okay? But I did, and I haven't looked back. Every once in a while though, I get a whiff, I'm like, ooh. I mean, I know they taste good. I know they taste good, but I haven't eaten them. I do make vegan versions of crab cakes now with hearts of palm, and those are really good. They're not quite the same. I will admit that. They're not quite the same because, I mean, crabs are so distinct. They have such a distinct flavor. So yeah, I do have nostalgia for that, but not to the point where I want to actually ingest them. But yeah, when I do remember things that I used to eat, or I get like that urge every once in a while, I'm like, okay, I take it as a challenge and I try to think of how I can recreate it in a vegan way. So that's been really fun as well. Okay, let's make the broccoli and the tofu. I already made my rice. I made some rice yesterday. I'm gonna just use leftovers. Always extra firm tofu, by the way. Okay, let's get into some juicy questions. Do you judge people who aren't vegan? I absolutely do not judge people who aren't vegan. Yo, I hear all the time like vegans are so judgmental. And by the way, I guess I would be considered plant-based because veganism is like a lifestyle or something or another. Y'all know what I'm saying. But to simplify, y'all know I eat a vegan diet, so there's that. But yeah, people be like, vegans are so judgmental and they're always going around saying they're vegan and blah, blah, blah. And they're always trying to convert people. Y'all, when I tell you, I literally could not care less about what the next person is putting in their mouth. It's just like, I got enough to worry about. I am not trying to recruit people to my team. I am not trying to change people's ways of life. If someone comes up to me and has questions, then I'll answer them, but I don't judge what anybody else is doing. I don't really care. But to piggyback off of that, I also get just some very interesting feedback on when people find out that I'm vegan, because I don't really advertise it unless it naturally comes up. Like someone will offer me something, or I'll be out somewhere at a restaurant and they'll overhear, oh, you don't eat meat. And sometimes people are just taken aback. They're surprised. Sometimes people are curious and they are intrigued and want to know more. But sometimes people are just, how can I say it nicely? They're little a-holes about it, which is very strange to me, because it's almost like if you offer someone a drink and they say to you, oh no, I don't drink alcohol, and you get offended by it. Like, how much sense does that make? I don't understand. Well, you know what? I do understand it, because usually you can tell why the person reacted the way that they did. You can usually tell, if you get what I'm saying. But I think a lot of it just comes down to ignorance and not understanding, because when they get offended by what you decide to do in your life, it's something going on there. Something ain't right. So yeah, what I wish I knew before I went vegan is how personally some people can take it when you say you don't eat meat. It's like you grew an extra head or something. I just, I'm still taken aback when this happens. I have on my list a question that says, what do you say to people who think veganism is extreme or unhealthy? Because some people really do think veganism is extreme, veganism is unhealthy, it is like the worst thing in the world. I don't really have much to say to that. I just show up. I just show up as me. I show up as my healthy self, as someone who has eaten a plant-based diet for over 10 years, as someone who does not eat meat at all, has never backslid on the meat front, and as someone who has been through 2 pregnancies while being vegan and carried twins, okay? Carry twins full term. Everybody's healthy, everybody's happy, everybody's perfect. Nobody has any afflictions. So what more can I say? I feel like the proof is in the pudding. I think if we all could live and let people make their own choices, I think that's what makes the world go round. That's what makes things interesting. That's what makes people unique. Because if everyone ate the same, looked the same, dressed the same, talked the same, and we were from the same places, how boring would that be? How boring would that be? So boring, oh my goodness. So I have my broccoli and my tofu. Usually I put my tofu in the air fryer to crisp it up. Today I'm gonna put it in the oven because the air fryer can get a little noisy, so I don't want it to, you know, have too much background noise while I'm making this video. But I tossed the broccoli with some olive oil and seasonings, and I didn't put anything on the tofu. I'm just gonna crisp it in the oven, and then I'm gonna toss it when I take it out of the oven in my spicy sauce. So let's put this in. Also gonna put in my muffins, and we'll set the timer for 25 minutes. While I wait for my food to be done, I'm gonna go ahead and make a half and half, or, you know, if I wanna be fancy, an Arnold Palmer. Next question I get a lot is veganism expensive? And for some reason, I feel like there are so many people that think that to eat a vegan diet, you are gonna be just spending money. But y'all, my grocery bill, oh, that's good. Ooh, I don't drink much juice. So this is a real treat. So anyway, yeah, my grocery bill has gone down significantly. I haven't like actually compared the exact numbers, but I know just from shopping that my grocery bill has gone down significantly, especially because I don't eat, like I said, the faux meats. I make a lot of my meals from scratch, or I don't use a lot of the already processed, put together meals. So buying some beans, rice, tofu, that's like less than $2 a pack, and I can use 1 pack of tofu for like 3 meals. So tofu's really inexpensive, less expensive than meat. Yeah, if you're not faux meat heavy in your basket, you're not going to be spending a ton of money, and you will probably be surprised at just how much money you will save if you stop buying the meat and just fill up on grains, vegetables, fruits. It gets pricey when you go into the specialty items. Like if you want to buy some vegan cheese, for example, if you want to get some vegan burgers. For me, I make my burgers myself. I make them with black beans as the main base, and then I'll add like some quinoa, some chopped sauteed onions, some seasonings in there, form it into patties, and I'll make my own. So that's really like next to nothing. So in a nutshell, no, I don't think veganism is expensive at all. But the faux meats, if you're into that, it adds up quickly. Now, I do get questions, how do I feel about faux meats? Are faux meats healthy? In my opinion, they're not the greatest things to eat, but in moderation. You know, we all eat certain things that aren't the healthiest, but in moderation, it's really fine. I think life is about balance, and it's about, you know, just treating yourself, letting yourself have the things that you want, but just don't go overboard. And also for people who are new to veganism or new to a plant-based diet, I think that faux meats are very helpful to help you transition. Because I remember when I was starting out, I would get the chicken patties, and I remember one time I even got like vegan shrimp. It didn't taste the best, but I got that. Like, I would try out so many faux meats, and as the years went by, I slowly started cutting them out. I didn't need them as a crutch so much, and I started figuring out what I actually liked, and I started coming up with ways that I could make really well-rounded dishes that didn't rely on them. So I think that for especially those that are just starting out, they're a great way to ease up on the actual meats if that's what you are looking to do. But for me, I just started to gravitate more towards homemade things. And in my cookbook, you will not find any faux meats in there. In my new cookbook, you will not find any faux meats in there. So that's another angle that I really like to emphasize. In my cooking, you will not see a lot of that in here. And another thing, people ask me, well, where do you shop? Where do you get vegan foods? How do you find this, and this? Y'all, any grocery store, you can put me in the middle of America right now. I will come out with all the things I need to make all the food I need. So you don't have to go to a grocery store that is like a Whole Foods or a Sprouts or, you know, anything like that. Now, I do go there sometimes because I do have some things that I like, but I don't like, it's not a necessity. So my cookbook is full of ingredients that you can find practically anywhere that you are at your regular grocery store, and you will still be able to whip up some tasty, really delicious, filling, satisfying foods. How do you deal with burnout or lack of cooking inspiration? Sometimes I do get in my ruts. Like, I find myself making the same things over and over. Like, I get into these cycles where I want what I want and I don't like to deviate too much. And then I'm like, okay, Kim, we gotta switch it up because you've been eating the same thing for a month. So how do I deal with that? Well, what I like to do is sometimes in the grocery store, I will flip through like those food magazines and I'll see different things and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. Or, oh, that looks like something I should try. So whenever I am in a creative funk, in a creative slump, thumb through a magazine, like a cooking or a food magazine, and find something that looks interesting, looks like something that I might like, whether it is vegan or not. If it's not vegan, then I will figure out how to make it vegan. And I've gotten really good at that. Like, I've gotten really good at thinking about substitutes. Oh, okay, this has seafood. Maybe I should use chickpeas in place of it, or maybe I should use hearts of palm in place of it, or maybe I could try artichokes, or this thing has a steak. I could use a mushroom in place of it. Like, I really have come to learn of some go-tos for meat replacements. Look at how perfect these muffins come out, y'all. I like to take some vegan butter and butter the tops of these. And they are fresh out of the oven. When I tell you these muffins, they could probably win a baking contest. They're that good. I'm not even joking. They are so good. And with the lemon in there, the fresh squeezed lemon juice, it just balances out all the sweetness. Yeah, like I said, these are a hit in here. But anyway, next question. How do you handle social events or dinners with non-vegans? I handle it fine. I don't know how to really answer that question, because when I'm eating out with people, it's not normally at a vegan restaurant. If I go to a vegan restaurant, it's either with like my immediate family or it's by myself. I have a few family members who eat majority plant-based, but they don't live close to me. So if I'm at a social event or a dinner with friends or even with people I don't know very well, I will check the menu to see if there are vegan options. And usually, even if they're not listed as vegan options, I can kind of tell certain menu items that either are vegan or can be made vegan, and then I'll just ask. Or I will pick something like a salad to just have something in front of me. Usually if I'm at a place where I don't know what the actual meal is gonna be. I eat beforehand, so I'm not there sitting and starving. I don't make a big deal out of it. If there's not much there for me, I will just make do, maybe with chips or something to drink. Now, I do get the question of, was it hard to go vegan in a family that eats meat? In my household and in my extended family, I was the first one to make the decision to completely stop eating meat. And for a long time, until my son, my 6-year-old, came along, I was the only one. But for me, it's really not difficult to maneuver in a family or in a space where everybody else is eating meat. I just eat what I want and they eat what they want, and we coexist, and there's no issues. But for the question of, do you ever feel isolated being plant-based? The answer is honestly yes. Sometimes it is a tad bit isolating, especially when I go to places and you would think that they would have at least one plant-based option on the menu. I'm not even talking about going to something like a steakhouse or a seafood specific restaurant. I'm talking about just a regular, nice restaurant. You would think that they would have just one dedicated, at least vegetarian main entree. Some of these places, it's like unheard of. So I do think that we could do a little bit better with accommodating a more diverse dietary need, especially with how popular veganism and vegetarianism is these days. So it is isolating and a little frustrating on that front. Or if I go to a social event and there's nothing for me to eat there, you know, I'm just kind of like, okay, while everybody else is chowing down. So it can get a little awkward. It can get a little frustrating at times. So it probably would be nice to be able to fellowship and to be around someone who shared my dietary preferences, but it doesn't affect my life to the point where I'm actively seeking that out. If somebody came into my life like that, okay, but on a day-to-day, I just live, I'm confident in my decisions. I know what I want, I know what I don't want, and I just move through life as it comes. By the way, I took the broccoli out the oven. The broccoli's done. The tofu, I had to take it out the oven and put it in the air fryer because it just wasn't getting as crispy as I like it in the oven. It was just taking too long and it wasn't crisping up. So I put it in the air fryer and now it's crispy. I'm about to finish that off. But before I do, let me answer a few more questions. Let's see. What's your guilty pleasure vegan snack? Those chocolate cupcakes that I showed in a previous vlog, those are really good. I get those from Sprouts. And then also another guilty pleasure vegan snack is, let me go grab it because we have some in the pantry. Okay, I grabbed a couple of them, but my number one guilty pleasure, well, besides the chocolate cupcakes, are these, y'all. I love me a Oreo, okay? I love me a Oreo. And supposedly these are vegan, so yes. But I also really love, this might sound crazy, but I love these cocktail onions. They just remind me of my childhood. I used to get those big onion pickles from the corner store, and I would peel off the layers and eat them, but I can't find them anymore. So this is like the closest thing to those back in the day onion pickles. These right here, I just eat them. Just pop them in my mouth as a snack. I just eat them whole like this. They're so tangy and tart and vinegary. Ah, it's so good. And then the other snack, this is not a guilty pleasure because I feel like these are pretty healthy. They just have a lot of salt in them. Pretty loaded in salt. But I love seaweed snacks. Ah. Okay, and then last one, let's see. Let's do one more and then we'll finish our lunch because I'm hungry. I haven't eaten yet today, y'all. Have your reasons for being vegan changed over the years? Yes, my reasons have changed over the years. Initially, as I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, I just became queasy at the thought of eating animals. But then I started realizing how much energy I had, how much mental clarity I had. Like my just overall wellness was increasing dramatically. All of the lifestyle benefits like better digestion. Back in the day, my digestion was terrible. It's just so wild how food can impact so many areas of your life. I feel so good. And I don't feel, okay, I said guilty pleasure, but like when I eat stuff like this, I don't feel guilty because 80% of the time I'm eating things that are really, really good and nourishing to my body, and I feel just so proud of myself for that, to the point where when I want to indulge and eat something that's not the healthiest, I do it because I know that my normal eating habits is nutrient rich, so many vitamins and minerals. By the way, I don't take supplements. I know people have questioned that as well, like what supplements do you take? Do you take any supplements? I do not take supplements, guys, none. But yeah, so that's that. Let's finish our lunch and then I'll show you everything plated up. Oh my goodness. When I tell y'all, make you want to slap your mama. I'm not gonna eat this on camera because I'm about to. Do y'all watch? I've been watching the guy Ayrton who goes to restaurants in New York City, and he's like, I'm about to dog this down. That's what I'm about to do right here. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, y'all. Don't forget, my first cookbook, digital version, is on massive sale. I will have it linked below. In addition to that, my gold flatware that I use in all my videos is on sale as well. On top of that, I have a big announcement. My vegan Instagram account that I had that I have not posted on in so long, I'm back on there. I'm back posting. It is So Deliciously Vegan. Follow me on there. I'm gonna be posting all the time now. So if you wanna see what I'm up to, see what I'm cooking, see what I'm eating, see where I'm going, new restaurants, updates on the upcoming cookbook, any and everything that has to do with food, follow me on there. You will see it all. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and have my lunch. Thanks guys for watching. Let me know if you want a part 2. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments and I will see you on my next one. Bye.